Displayed on the platform is a selection of vintage luggage, a reminder of the days when virtually everybody and everything travelled by rail. Richard, meanwhile, meets his friend and railway member Paul at Rolvenden Loco Shed, and after a brief look at some of the engines in the yard, decide to make their way over to the signal box, where the signalman explains the layout and functions of the box.
I've always wanted to know, what are the actual levers for?
Well, different levers that perform various functions in the box are identified by different colours. The red ones, they are the signals themselves, black are the points, blue are the facing point locks, which are used to actually lock the points in a position for the passage of a train so the points cannot move under it. And the blue and brown ones are the electric releases, which serve other purposes, such as releasing ground frames.
What are ground frames?
Well, ground frames are a small lever frame, which are actually located out on the ground, which a guard or a shunter would use.
Why is this particular one such a big box?
Well, the box here, it's one of its main functions.
Signal box staff, who belong to the section known as S&T, Signals and Telephone Section, have to go through an intensive training programme for their occupation. They're all unpaid volunteers and must learn all the rulebook regulations too. They're responsible for the safe passage of trains at all times and must spend a few years learning all aspects of safety and procedure until they qualify to be a signalman in charge of a box.
Or you have a large layout such as this that actually needs signalling.
Yeah. What are all these instruments? What are they used for? What do they measure?
Well, the indicators are used to indicate signals that can't be seen actually from the box, or sometimes that can't be seen easily at night. We have trains cross around every hour here, and this is because, being a single line, you need to have passing places to maintain that frequency of service. In fact, shortly there'll be a train leaving Tenterden, the 2:15, which will arrive here after the up train, Northiam, has arrived, and the down train will then leave for Northiam, and once it's cleared, the up train will then leave for Tenterden.
The signalman is now able to put into practice the working details he's been outlining to Richard, with first of all the arrival of a train from Tenterden at Rolvenden Station.
Are used as the actual authority to occupy the single line section, and there can only be one of these out of the instrument at one time. Rather than just having one of them, we have a number, and they are controlled electrically between the two instruments, in order that when you have, say, two trains following, there's no need to bring one back by road in order for the second train to proceed.
Having collected the single line token from the Northiam train, the signalman then goes through the seemingly complex and muscle-building task of preparing the points and signals for the train standing at the station. The home signal is cleared and the Northiam-bound train makes a speedy exit from the station. At this point it's worthwhile explaining the need for these safety measures of single-line working, as in the early days of railway operation over single lines, head-on collisions between two trains were quite common, often with fatal results. Eventually, men known as bobbies and equipped with red flags were employed to walk in front of trains with the rather unenviable task of protecting their train. To this day, signalmen are always known as bobbies. Meanwhile, Richard, still engrossed, watches as the signalman pulls off the home signal for the other train to enter Rolkington Station. Department of Transport regulations require all train movements to be entered in a logbook.
What is this map diagram up here of?
This diagram shows all lines, points and signals covered by the signal box and is standard equipment in all such boxes. A little later on, the train returns from Tenterden and pulls up at the platform, despite the fact that his nearby signal has cleared, that is, it's all right to proceed. The driver, no doubt, is waiting for the single line token to be handed to him. The same train movements are repeated with the opportunity of seeing the signalman collecting the token from the fireman of the train from Northiam. This done, the first train can leave. This procedure is called trains crossing. With the departure of the train from Tenterden, the signalman changes the points for the entry of the other train. Note the operation of the point locking bar in the bottom right-hand corner of the picture. Now the signalman gives another token or key to the loco crew for safe passage on the single line up to Tenterden.